I grew up in a very strict sort of environment in the 60s and 70s, Catholic Church dominated, and a lot of it was unfair. And a lot of it, looking back, involved not being heard. You were never heard, particularly if you're a girl. And that was particularly unfair. And I think one of the things I liked about being a barrister was making people be heard.
So, what made you decide to specialise in criminal law?
Oh, that was a very long, involved process. I mean, I started off doing my articles with my father's firm. I mean, I had never thought about going anywhere else. As I said, I was a fairly conventional person, and my father had died. And I ended up doing probate and conveyancing at the Camberwell branch, which I just loathed, and I could just see myself hanging off the end of a phone with cobwebs off me down the years. And I thought, what am I going to do? This is, if I want to go for a job with anyone, this is all I know how to do, probate conveyancing, which I hate. And I always tell the story, which is probably boring. I spent most of my articles in the toilet reading romantic novels because I was just so bored. I hated it. And the terrible thing about disliking what you do in law is everybody else wants to be a lawyer. It's so statusy. So if you don't like it, you think, oh my God, it must be me. And in fact, it wasn't me. What I was doing didn't suit me. So then started this great long odyssey where I thought, well, I'm stuffed. I can't get a job anywhere else. So I thought I always wanted to be a journalist. So I wrote away and I got a cadet graduateship with Australian Associated Press. So I left law for 3 years and I really enjoyed that. It was great. I enjoyed getting away from the sort of upper middle class private echelons that I'd been in all my life, because journalism still in the early 80s, it wasn't people who had got brilliant marks and managed to get jobs on newspapers. It was blokes who'd been copy boys and left school at the age of 14 and worked their way out. So there's these sensational characters, and I really loved it. And I did that for about 3 years, and I went overseas for a while and worked overseas and backpacked around. And it was while I was doing court reporting that I started seeing barristers. That's when the idea first came to me. I thought I'd like to be a barrister and I'd like to do crime. And then I got a job after about 3 years I realised that, because the aim was always to go and work for The Age because it was the most prestigious. And I rang them up and they said, yes, we'd be interested, send us in a resume. And that was when I just suddenly realised I don't want to do this anymore. I think I was it wasn't quite right for my personality. I started to realise through that it's really important to have a job that expresses you. And I think I was too bossy and like dominating the conversation a bit too much to be a successful journalist. And so I got a job at Legal Aid as a duty solicitor, which I loved. That was appearing for people at the magistrates' courts. And then I went to the bar and I was about 30. And I hit the ground running. Legal Aid were very generous to people who'd worked for them, and I got a lot of work from them. And I just worked as a criminal defence barrister until I got this job, and I loved it.